I always knew people were born and then they died. It's a cycle of life. But you don't ever want someone to become a memory. And when someone you truly love becomes a memory, that memory becomes a treasure. Tony Melvin Sawyer. Tony Melvin was my uncle. He was my very best friend. I spent countless hours with him. From the time that I was about 2 to 4, I spent my summers and my falls with him on the tractor, planning, plowing, stripping, everything. I remember we'd be on the tractor till just about midnight, sometimes 1:30. We would go back to his house and he would set out a pallet right on the floor by my Aunt Wendy just for me. And we'd wake up the next morning and we'd go eat our nutty bars, a glass of chocolate milk, and we'd drive to the barn and go get on the tractor. My Uncle Tony wasn't only just my farming man. He was the Shrek to my donkey. Now, my Uncle Tony could come off as very sarcastic, rude. He was very blunt. So, when I was 3, I gave him the nickname Donkey because we always watched Shrek together. And everyone found it a little ironic that I called him Donkey just because of how his personality was. But I've called him Donkey ever since I was about 3 when we started watching Shrek, up until he passed away. When I was 5, I remember I was in kindergarten and I called his house phone, because we all have landlines out here in the country. And I was like, "Hey, Uncle Tony, can I come over and swim?" And he was like, "Of course, honey." So he came and picked me up. I went to his house and we were about to go swimming. And that's when him and my Aunt Wendy sat me down and told me they had to tell me something. Given the fact that I was very young, they tried to put it in very simple terms to where I wouldn't be so curious to ask a lot of questions. But they just told me that Uncle Tony had gotten very sick and that they were gonna do treatment on him, and we just didn't realize how much longer he was gonna have. When my parents, they told me a little bit more bluntly how life was about to be, and it was more of Uncle Tony was going to be getting on an airplane and going to Houston to receive treatment for his sickness. When I was 6, they ended up telling me that it was stage 3 lung cancer, and it had just about developed to stage 4. And I would always go with him when he would receive chemo. I remember him throwing up, and we would wait for the sickness to be gone before we would purchase our plane tickets to come back home. And I remember from then we never got on the tractor anymore. We would always sit at home and we would play Guitar Hero on the Wii, and he would get tired super fast, but that's just how life was. My 2nd grade year, when I was about to turn 7, my mom comes to get me from the school and tells me that we have to go to the hospital to say our goodbyes to Uncle Tony. I will never forget this day because I was practicing oral reading, and it was about a turtle, and me and Uncle Tony had been practicing my oral reading poem because UIL was coming up, and anyway, I went to the hospital and I said my goodbyes, and quickly, like an hour after that, he was gone. I did get to read my poem to him one last time at the hospital, but from right there, that was the end of it. When my Uncle Tony passed away, I quickly realized that you don't get to keep your best friends forever, and that God takes them all at a certain point in life when his timing is right, and God's timing is better than everyone else's. Learning from all of this with my Uncle Tony, don't ever spend time thinking that you have people that you love forever. You need to cherish the time you have with them while they're here on earth, and accept the fact that they're gone, because the chances are they're still looking down on you and hoping for the best. I know that my Uncle Tony is still here all the time. My Aunt Wendy tells me that he would be so proud of me and everything that I've done. So just keep all the memories, hold them close to your heart, treasure the memories.